So today we're going to talk about Game 7 of the World Series and Alejandro Kirk's broken bat. And I fully accept that some of what I'm about to present to you is going to make me seem completely crazy, but bear with me, folks. I know a lot of the people you see on the internet, they start saying this connects to that, and they sound really crazy, and I know I probably come across as one of those people, but I think if you stick with me, you'll see that I'm nowhere near as crazy as I look. With that being said, give me the bat, Marge. Give me the bat. Give me the bat. Give me the bat. No, but seriously, if you watch Falling Down, the movie, you'll see that when the Michael Douglas character goes crazy, we can see a bat touching the Corona sign in the store. And he accuses these people of being Chinese, and they're like, we're not Chinese, we're Korean. And he says, I don't care. And he starts smashing the place up. The bat is literally touching the Corona from the perspective of the viewer. And so for that reason and others, I've taken a bit of an interest in the bat motif. And of course, Game 7, Alejandro Kirk is at the plate. There's one out and there's two runners in scoring positions. If he hits this for a home run, the Toronto Blue Jays are going to win. If he hits it even just for a double, they're going to tie with a chance to win. They've only got one out. Even if he hits a single, they'll have bases loaded. But if he gets out in a double play, the game's over. So this is a huge play, and Yamamoto is pitching. He's already pitched 33 pitches, so this will be his 34th pitch. He pitches to Kirk, and what happens? Well, the bat breaks, leading to a double play. That is, that the ball is fielded by one of the infielders. He runs to second. That's your second out. Throws it to first base. There's your third out. Game over. The Dodgers win a second consecutive World Series. And the Toronto Blue Jays, the fairy tale is over in front of their home crowd. And who was at the plate but Kirky Boy? And so I was watching the game very late in the morning, like early. It was 6 o'clock in the freaking morning, but I was watching the World Series, Game 7. Very entertaining stuff. And I posted this screenshot on the JLB Discord server at the time, and I said, final play of the World Series. Yamamoto with 33 pitches. Kirk at the plate. His bat breaks 9 total runs in the 11th inning. And again, as you can see here, Kirk's broken bat is still in the middle of the infield as Dodgers celebrate. And so you don't need to be a big baseball fan to understand the significance of this. This is the World Series. This is the final series of the postseason, the final contest of the entire Major League Baseball season. And the series is tied at 3-3. So the winner of this match wins the whole thing. And Kirk has a chance to win the whole thing for his team, or at the very least advance position. But the risk is, if there's a double play, this will be the last play. And that's exactly what happened. And why did it happen? Well, he hit the ball, but the bat broke. So the ball just limped towards one of the infielders. Double play, game over, series over. Kirk has the last play of the series, and it's not a good play. It is series over. You get the significance of this?
Sure. I get it.
Of course, his name has some significance in 2025. Alejandro Kirk, that surname Kirk. When you think of Kirk in 2025, what comes to mind? Probably the shooting of Charlie Kirk's at the Utah Valley University at this here venue, which some people over at the Infinite Plane Society think tank have pointed out, kind of looks like the home plate. So here's a little thing I've put together for you. This is a home plate in baseball. Of course, the other plates, first, second, and third, they look like diamonds, really. But the home plate looks like this. So there's a home plate of baseball. Here is the place where the tragic event occurred, and my heart goes out to the families. Yeah, boy. And here you have a home plate superimposed over that place by your main man, John LeBon from beautiful Plovdiv, Bulgaria. So I was listening to the latest Infinite Plane Society deprogram, and around about 20 minutes in, he said something that I was happy to hear. Take a listen to this.
But, again, we're just seeing these consistent patterns, and it's a little... It's funny at a minimum. And so you might just be inclined to say, oh, it's just a funny coincidence, and the universe has got a sense of humor. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's either that. Either the universe has a sense of humor, or we're looking at scripted events.
And the reason I was happy to hear him say that is because it sounds like he's open-minded to the possibility that maybe these things are not scripted. Because for the last little while, there has been a lot of discussion, you might even say debate, about how is it that these things happen. And so you take this event with Charlie Kirk's, and then somebody notices some similarities to Snake Eyes 1998, where a politician named Charles Kirkland was shot in the neck. And then Heads of State 2025, Elizabeth Kirk, also a politician, shot in the neck. Elizabeth Kirk, played by the same actress, Carla Gugino, or Gugino, however you pronounce that. Carla Gugino is the same one in Heads of State 2025, and in Snake Eyes, she was right next to Charles Kirkland. And then, of course, she appears to be dressed somewhat similar to Erica Kirk at the memorial service that was held for Charlie Kirk's. So a lot of apparent connections there that to some people are merely coincidences, not even worth talking about. To other people, they're more than just mere... I mean, this is a pretty amazing set of connections here. And then, of course, some people go further and they say, oh, it's all scripted. The people who were behind Charlie Kirk's, they faked that event, and they're somehow also connected to, working with, the people who created Snake Eyes in 1998. This is all an elaborate production going on for decades, and it's all scripted. The whole thing is fake. And so I found myself wondering, are they also going to say that this double play at the end of the World Series, that this is also scripted, also fake? And it sounds to me like Tim Osman of the Infinite Plane Society, he's saying, well, actually, it could be the universe. Because in the past, when I've suggested to people, okay, maybe it's scripted, or maybe this is just how this place works, this universe, this cosmos, this realm, this place where we live. Maybe there are coincidences happening all the time, and then when they happen in major movies or major TV shows or even major sporting events, it can appear as though it's scripted, but that doesn't mean that it is literally scripted. Sometimes these things can just happen. And so when I've pointed this out, sometimes people have come back to me and said, oh, so you think it's all a simulation. You think God did it. That's an appeal to the divine fallacy. And I'm saying, no, I'm not saying God did it. I'm not saying we're in a simulation. I'm saying coincidences do happen in our lives, and we know that. So why can't they also happen when people are making movies or making music or making TV shows or what have you? And so the idea of these coincidences, or these meaningful coincidences, synchronicities as some people might call them, I've been interested in this topic for many years now. And I put together this piece called Falling Down the Rabbit Hole last year. And I'll link to this in the pinned comment below. You can go and read this. It's available publicly. I go through this list of apparent coincidences involving falling down and the event known as the pandemic, and how it all seems to connect to 9/11. As crazy as that sounds, I know I sound like one of these crazy people. I understand. I kind of do look like one. I accept that. I don't think it is crazy to notice these apparent connections and to enjoy finding them and pondering, how do these happen? How many of these are happening? Why do they seem to happen around to the major events like 9/11, 3/11, and the others, even this Charlie Kirk event? In fact, one of the most downloaded or streamed public podcasts that I've ever published was to do with this idea of synchronicity. It was called Sync Mist. This was in March of 2024, so about 18 months ago. Most of my public uploads only get, like on Podbean, they only get 200, 300, maybe 500, occasionally more than that, but generally it's in the low to mid hundreds of streams and downloads. This particular episode is one of the most streamed or downloaded episodes I've ever published for some reason, and it's to do with 3/11, 9/11, the synchronicities and what have you. It has well over 1,000 streams/downloads for some reason, and I'm happy about that. It's good to see. But what I forgot until today when I was going back and preparing the tabs for this video that you're watching right now, I forgot that around the same time, I also uploaded a podcast to johnlebon.com called Inside Fake Ball Missing Syncs, which went into more detail about some of these apparent coincidences that I was talking about in Sync Mist. And you might notice that the thumbnail that I've chosen for that piece, and this is like 18 months ago now, it features like a diamond, like a baseball diamond. I forgot about that until just now, until 10 minutes ago putting this together. And these are the kinds of apparent coincidences that I'm talking about. As in, when I sat down to make this video tonight and I wanted to talk about this Kirk thing, and I wanted to talk about the Infinite Plane Society recent deprogram episode, and the baseball home plate as it seems to relate to the chart, all of this stuff. And I was like, I might link to that public Podbean upload. It was like 2 or 3 hours talking about synchronicities. Oh yeah, and around about that time, I also put together this Sync Mist post. And then, oh yeah, I forgot. At the same time, I also uploaded this thing for johnlebon.com, Missing Syncs Inside Fake Ball, and it features a baseball diamond. This wasn't scripted. I didn't plan 18 months ago to be talking about baseball bats and Alejandro Kirk and Charlie Kirk. I didn't know any of this was going to happen. It just works out this way sometimes. And I'm not putting forth the idea that God did it, or we live in a simulation, or any of these things. I don't know how or why these things happen. All I know is that they do happen, and if they can happen in my life and they can happen in your life, Why can't they happen when they're making movies, TV shows, these sorts of things? And why can't they happen in these games of baseball, even the biggest game of baseball of the season? Am I open-minded to the possibility that this was scripted and Kirk was given a weakened bat so that it would explode after Yamamoto had pitched 33 pitches and it says 33 on the screen, and this would lead to a double play that would end the series? Am I open-minded to the possibility that these guys are in on it and it's some elaborate theatre production for some reason? Sure. I'd like to see some evidence of it first though, and I don't think any is going to be forthcoming. And so even though a lot of people, if you watch TikTok or YouTube or what have you, and you hear people talking about these connections, you probably think, oh, this is one of those crazy people who thinks it's an elaborate conspiracy because someone's scripting all these people are all nuts. Yeah, okay, maybe some of them are, but not all of us who are interested in these topics are interested because we think it's evidence of some clandestine group of people plotting things 20, 30 plus years in advance for some reason, whatever. Not all of us are seeing it that way. Some of us are just interested in this stuff because it is fascinating how these things can happen, both on the screen and in our real life. And on that note, I've recently been publishing a new series at johnthebond.com. It's up to 8 parts, and I've probably got 4 or 5 parts to go, looking at some of these ridiculous coincidences from the late 1980s through to about 1990 with Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan, and some of the things that they were saying that in retrospect seem to predict my 9/11s and other events. But I'm not presenting these connections and trying to tell you or to tell anybody, hey, this is because it was all planned ahead of time. Even though I'm open-minded to that possibility, that's not the way I see things. I'm just interested in these connections in and of themselves. So I'll link to this piece in the pinned comment below. This is just for the members of johnthebond.com, this particular one. There's literally hundreds of hours of content like this waiting for you if you join johnthebond.com. And I'll also link to this public material such as Falling Down the Rabbit Hole, this page on johnthebond.com. Anyone can view that. And Sync Missed the podcast that I was talking about earlier. That's hours and hours of me talking about some of these outrageous coincidences and why do people think they happen and what do I think's going on. That's available publicly. I'll link to that in the pinned comment below as well. And of course, I'll link to the latest IPSD program where I think, if I'm understanding things properly, Tim seems to be open-minded to the possibility that it's not all scripted, it's not all fake. Maybe the universe, the world, whatever this place is where we live, sometimes these things happen. And it may seem to us, if we anthropomorphize these happenings as being like a cosmic joke, a cosmic sense of humor, we can look at it that way if we like. We don't have to say, oh, it's either all scripted, all planned ahead of time, or you're appealing to God or simulation or some other crap. So check those links in the pinned comment below and have yourselves a lovely day. Give me the bat, Marge. Give me the bat. Give me the bat. Give me the bat.
Scaredy cat. Yeah.